Everyone has moments in life they can't just stop thinking about. They can be embarrassing things, like that one time you face planted in front of a group of teenagers, or something amazing like the first time you hosted your family for the holidays. And on Baby, This is Keke Palmer, hosted by me, Keke Palmer, and presented by BMW, we know to savor the good memories and let go of the bad. And one thing everyone remembers fondly is their first time behind the wheel of a BMW. So come join me and BMW this summer as we explore pop culture moments and topics you just can't stop thinking about on Baby, This is Keke Palmer. Sponsored by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th.
We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly mini-sode where we dig into the things that we've been watching recently. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth. I'm distracted by my cat looking at me, and she's very cute. This week we are talking some hidden gems from Nightstream Festival, an erotic dark comedy thriller, incredible, a spoilery midnight mass chat, and a funny, sad aquatic horror film that only Bong Joon Ho could create. I really do love the absolute range of the things we watch on a weekly basis. Every time I read these, I'm always like, the variety is incredible.
The variety is
we are nothing if not diverse in our choices.
Yes. And, before we do talk about it, I was just thinking this week about how wild it is this week, that this week itself we get Checking TV series, which I don't know if you've been watching. I watched the first episode. Decent. Enjoying. We get Slumber Party Massacre remake. We get a Halloween remake. We're getting I Know What You Did Last Summer TV series. And we just had a trailer for Scream. I mean, wild.
It's a good time to be a horror fan.
Wild. Especially for old properties getting redone.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think of the Scream trailer? Did you watch it?
I did.
Okay.
It is not amping me up, which I actually appreciate. Because what I'm afraid is going to happen is there's so much anticipation for this movie that no matter how good it is, it's going to fail expectations. And so I feel like, personally, that this more kind of low-key trailer sort of undercuts those expectations a little bit. It looks good. Some of it really got me excited, like Sydney saying, I'm Sydney Prescott, of course I have a gun. Like, that kind of stuff I'm here for. I don't know. What did you think?
Stop it. Sorry. I'm so sorry. She just tried to pull the tea bag out of my mug. Asshole. I was a little bit annoyed at the first half, which is like the recreation, like the
Drew Barrymore.
The usual cold open Drew Barrymore. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm just like we seen it. I don't know why. I guess maybe I'm jaded. That sounds terrible, but I was just like, I want to see like something else. But maybe that was the point. They're like kind of like you said, understating it. But I was like, I hope this is not the whole movie. It's just like scenes from the OG recreated in like a 21st, like in a 2021 context.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like trying to tamp down my expectations because I don't want it to
That's also what I'm doing because I am really excited, and like I did get super fucking hype when like everyone's on screen, like obviously all the old characters, but like the new cast looks rad. Like there's a queer person in the cast, and like Jack Quaid is in it, and I'm obsessed with him. He's in The Boys, and he's incredible.
And he was in Tragedy Girls. I love him.
Oh, that's right, he was. So I'm like super excited, and like you see Stu's house a bunch, and like what if Stu comes back? That's my favorite theory. And I want it to be true. Mostly because I love Matthew Lillard. I think that's like the main reason. Who doesn't?
He brings a certain kind of energy to everything, and I definitely would love to see him back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I know. I'm like you. I'm trying not to get too hype because I'm scared.
Well, it also comes out on my birthday. So that's like my birthday. That's my birthday celebration is going to see that.
You.
So I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm trying to like.
Oh God, make or break your birthday. It'll be great no matter. You're gonna see a Scream movie in a theater on your birthday. Like that's a pretty cool prospect, regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've never seen a Scream movie in a movie theater.
Oh really?
So this will be cool.
I've seen the last two, 3 and 4. I mean, I've said this before. I think on this podcast when we talk about Scream, I was out of being a horror fan when Scream came out and Scream 2 came out. So I saw those both on VHS. So yeah, I'm excited.
I wasn't like into Scream, I think, when they were in theaters, like the 3 and 4.
Have you seen 3 and 4?
What years were they? No.
You need to remedy that before the 5th
one.
Duh. Scream 3 was like what, 2000?
Yeah, and I was young too when those came out. Oh yeah, so I was only 7.
And Scream 4 came out the weekend that I came out. So that was April of 2011.
Give me 1,500 words on that right now.
I did do that. That's out on my side.
I want more. 1,500 more for me. I'll pay you.
I want to hear about because I am burnt out. I am le burnt. Mm-hmm. So I did not sign up for Nightstream, but I am really curious about some of these gems.
Yeah, so I was not going to do Nightstream and last minute decided to because I haven't done really any festivals since I started my job like right when festival season started, and I was like I have no time to do anything. So now I'm finally getting some more time to watch things like screeners like this. So the two that I watched that I've enjoyed quite a bit but like aren't super horror-y but are really good. There's one called Landlocked, which is in the vein of found footage, but not exactly. It's about a guy who basically goes back home. His childhood home is about to be demolished, and so he's going back to pick up anything that he wants in the house. His father passed away, I think, a year ago, and so he's going home to kind of collect his things. And while he's there, he discovers this video camera, and there's no tape inside of it, but when he puts it up to his eye and looks at the viewfinder, he can see the past. Oh. And the past is represented by actual family home movies of the director. So the director's brother is the main character, and then like his father and like their whole family's in it. And so when he's looking through the viewfinder and kind of looking back to the past, it's their home movies of their family. So it's got like a Seder, kind of a Seder vibe.
Vibes.
Yeah. It's got Seder vibes to it because it's like not found footage, but a little bit found footage, and it kind of plays with that in a really interesting way. It's pretty, it's slow, but it's got a couple moments where I'm like, what the fuck? So it's really, really cool with what it does, and I really enjoyed it. Very like indie DIY filmmaking, but I really was quite impressed with it. Okay. And it's got like a really cool premise. It's like it got like kind of a sci-fi kind of like vibe to it. So that was really incredible. And then the other one that I just watched like today is called The Greenhouse. It's a queer Australian. Did you see it?
No, I wanted to. I didn't know it was queer.
The Australian one where she goes into the greenhouse and they can travel back in time to see her mom.
That is not the one that I was thinking of. There's another movie called Greenhouse, I think, that's out. Wild. No, I did not know about this one. Tell me more.
Oh, so The Greenhouse is about a woman who wakes up one night and finds that she can walk through their family, like through the family greenhouse, and she can travel back in time. Oh. She has 2 moms. Her moms are lesbians, and one of her moms passed away from cancer. And so the family is grieving, and so she uses this like go back and see her mom, but also there's a lot of stuff in there about like family resentment and being scared to come out and internalized homophobia, and it's really sad. But it's really good. Again, not like super horror-y, but it's like a more quiet sci-fi vibe, because it's like it feels just like a family drama, but she can travel back in time, and to the past. So, and it's very gay, and it's very well done, but it just makes you cry a whole shit ton, because it's about like a dying parent and grief, but also like realizing that you were very closeted and like broke someone's heart. And then also like you and like your own like issues with mental health and inability to like look inward at yourself. And it's just very sad, but it's very well done.
It sounds really good.
So,
correction, I was thinking of Glass House.
Ah, yes, this is not that. No. So those like the two I've watched are like very quiet indie, not really scary, but they're just beautifully done, kind of cool conceptual movies, which I like. I feel like that Nightstream has a lot of that kind of stuff. So I have a couple more things I have to watch. Bloody Oranges, which I've heard good things about. Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes.
Things about
Bloody Oranges. Yeah, so have I. So I'm interested. But I also have Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes.
Oh, that's adorable.
I know. I'm excited to watch it. And then it's called Cosmic Dawn. It's about an alien, a UFO cult. So some cool stuff. But I want to hear about this erotic, dark comedy thriller thing.
So the movie that I saw this weekend, I was trying not to watch a lot of work-related stuff this weekend, but, you know, I can't not spend a weekend watching some kind of horror movie that I'm going to review. And this one is called The Estate. And it opens up with Eliza Coupe. You know her from Happy Endings. She was in Future Man.
Sure. Looking her up. Continue.
So she is like a comedic actress, and it opens up with her saying, "I need a guy to come on my face," and before telling her this gay guy gay guy, "Get dressed, we're going dumpster diving for dick." And it turns out
fucking excuse me, I saw your tweet about this and I'm so excited to know more about it.
So it turns out that Eliza Coupe, is the gay guy, George, played by Chris Baker. She is his stepmom. They are about the same age. His father and her husband is this billionaire jagoff played by Eric Roberts, who's not in the picture. He's like traveling the world and philandering on the side. And they both hate him. And so they go out clubbing and going to find the dick. And they discover it in the form of this guy who goes by the name of Joe, who is like, he's hot in like a very boyish sort of way, but he has like muscles, and he seems to be interested in both of them. She takes him home and they have sex, and then the next day they're talking about the father, and they decide that, gosh, he is so horrible, and he's leaving them destitute as they live in this gorgeous mansion that they apparently can't pay for because he's not giving them money, and of course, heaven forbid, they go work. So they decide they need to kill him, and Joe apparently is a hitman and offers to kill him for them. And then it starts to go from there and turns into the psychosexual love tryst between the stepmom, George, and Joe. And it's gay.
That sounds absolutely fucking incredible and gay and bisexual and great.
Oh yeah. The bisexual is off the charts. It's very funny. It was written by the Chris Baker, the guy that plays the Georgie, the gay son. And there's some twists. I saw some of it coming. Some of it didn't surprise me, but I had a lot of fun the entire way through. I wish it was a little bit more on the erotic side, because I feel like we're due for more erotic movies to come out. Like I want to see some more eroticism than just, you know, a sex scene. Like I need more. Give me more. And this movie is definitely airing more on the comedic side than the thriller side, but I had a great time with it. It surprised me at how much fun I had with this one.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, and
when is it coming out?
It is coming out on the 22nd. So not this Friday,
Okay.
but not when this episode drops, but the following Friday. It'll be out, I believe, on VOD. So I would recommend giving it a check if you like the sort of like erotic thriller with like a tinge of dark comedy. More on the dark comedy side, but it's funny. It has Eliza Coupe saying dumpster diving for dick, and that's all I really need in life.
That sounds incredible. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, just like that. Dumpster diving for dick is just an incredible phrase. It's going to be playing in my head on repeat for a while.
It's been stuck in my head since I saw it Friday.
Yep. Just the implications of that, if you think about it too hard. Anyhow. Midnight Mass.
Yes. So after you talked about it last week, I was like, okay, I need to just sit down and watch this. And I had a 3.5 day weekend, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch Midnight Mass, and I did. And
was I wrong about you? Did you actually like it?
I did. I did like it a whole lot.
Hooray! I love being wrong.
It was okay. It made me think about some things. But first, I want to say that listeners, we're going to be spoilering this movie because I want to, or this TV show, because I want to kind of dig into it. So we'll put time codes in the episode if you haven't watched it, because there's a couple particular things that I want to talk about. And I'm pretty sure you want to talk about too. So
yes, yeah. So we'll put that in the notes from when you skip ahead to make sure you don't hear any spoilers.
Okay, so you're still with us? Great. So when I first started watching this, the thought crossed my mind. I was sitting here and I was thinking, boy, this initial setup, and this was in the very first episode, I was like, I really want to see Mike Flanagan adapt Jerusalem's Lot. That was the thought in my head in like the first 20 minutes of that opening episode.
And you didn't even know yet.
And then all of a sudden the father comes in with this giant box and he pounds on it and the box pounds back and is like, is this a vampire show? Is this what I'm asking for? Are we getting like a Jerusalem's Lot-esque type story? And listeners,
yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Yes, and I was here for it when I realized that it was vampires and that they were taking this idea of like the angel, which I know, like I was immediately as I was watching that, I was like, ooh, I bet Mary Beth is digging in this because I know you love like weird representations of angel type things. And even though I don't think this particular thing is an angel necessarily, the idea behind it, I was like, ooh, I'm liking this. I'm liking the fact that they are corrupting Bible passages in order to fit this narrative, as opposed to being like, this is a horrific thing. No, we're going to somehow make this horrific thing part of our religion and embrace it. I was like, ooh, this is a fascinating subject to be digging into. I was agagged at how much I really kind of dug this one.
Yay! Oh, I'm glad to hear it. That makes me very happy. I also got, because of course I did 30 Days of Night vibes, a lot of it too. Mm-hmm. Like obviously, very much so, and that was wild. But and the thing that made me cry, was Kate Siegel talking about when her daughter died. She had the miscarriage. Mm-hmm. Sister-in-law experienced one last year, and it was similarly traumatic. So I was just like, there we go, here we go, rev up those fryers, Captain. Like, I was just not having a good time. But yeah, besides that, it's incredible. Like when I realized it was a vampire show, I was like, this is the best day of my life.
Yeah,
it's fucking incredible.
Yeah,
it's fucking incredible. Yes,
and I was sitting there thinking, thank you, internet, for actually not spoiling this series for me.
Right?
Because I
was surprised how little people talked about it.
I know. Considering, like, you can't, like, if you are watching any of those Disney Plus shows, the moment that it hits airing, you just gotta, like, turn off your Twitter because people just start spoiling.
Yeah.
Like, we've come into a culture where, like, and some of it it doesn't really bother me, but I do think that the unbidden talk about spoilers so quick before other people can actually have a chance to watch it has gotten to be like a fever pitch on Twitter, and it's weird, and I don't like it.
It's very strange. But yeah, I was surprised that not more people were very much like yelling about what the show was about, which is nice to see, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It had been 2 weeks since it came out, and I still had, like I said last week when you had brought up the show, I knew nothing about it other than it had like a hot priest in it.
He's so good though.
He's really good. The cast is
incredible.
really good. I loved him. I loved who is Hamish Linklater?
Yeah, Hamish Linklater. Linklater, yeah.
Loved him. I will say I was a little bothered in the beginning that we had like two older women that were they felt like they were like a cast of like a high school play wearing like old people's clothing and wigs. I was like, why? And then later on I realized why they were doing it, but I still was like,
could have been better.
It didn't look good.
Could have done that one better.
I love Alex Esso and Kristen Lemon was great, but like they didn't do them any justice in terms of like making them look real.
No. Did you see what I meant though about like the pacing sometimes with the monologues?
Oh, girl.
And the horror. Okay.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
A lot of talking about faith.
Too much.
Which like I get, but at the same time I was like, Mike Flanagan just gave like an entire generation's worth of like theater kids monologues to use for their audition.
I literally said
like,
this.
Bitch,
as
where were you when
watching.
I was in theaters?
I know. Like the amount of times I had to like audition with a monologue, and I auditioned with like a couple monologues from Magnolia back in like 1999. I actually did a scene for college of me with my female partner doing like a scene from Magnolia because I had that script. I'm like, this is going to fuel so many monologues and audition pieces.
It's going to fuel so many audition pieces. And you know what? Thank you, Mike Flanagan. Thank you for making life easier for us, because looking for monologues sucks shit.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does. I hated that part of it.
Yeah. Nope. But yeah, so like they're beautifully written monologues. Like there's no denying that they are beautifully written, like very poignant things. It's just, again, I wanted more vampires.
I wanted more vampires too.
I just wanted more vampires.
Although,
like I will
say that the baptism, the like Jonestown via vampires, like was one of the most horrific things I've seen in like this year in terms of like, I don't know, just
it's like that scene in Daybreakers at the end when they all start turning into vampires and eating each other. Do you remember that?
I haven't seen Daybreakers.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Well, that means nothing to you then. Never mind. You haven't seen 2009 Ethan Hawke classic Daybreakers? What the fuck is wrong with you? I love how I just automatically assumed you would have fucking seen it.
Is that from 2009?
Yes, it is. I wrote an academic book chapter about that fucking movie. Like, what the fuck? like one out of like 3 people. When I was doing research, like 3 other people had written about that movie. Anyway, regardless, that moment, the turning scene, I was like, this is a lot. Like, this is horrific.
Mm-hmm. It was so horrific.
So like the Flanagan knows how to make a finale, but like last forever in a good way, and I mean that. It's not just like a very quick climax. Like he knows how to take like the last half of a season and make it the climax across 5 episodes, and it's incredible. Like I don't know how he does it like this, but that man knows how to pace a series, and that's hard because people can really fuck that up. And he knows how to pace a series pretty fucking well. I mean, I talked about pacing in the show itself, but still, I feel like he still hit these beats at the right point.
He did. I could have used I could have done without the final dying monologue. I'll be honest.
They are married. That's all I'll say. she's a good actress.
Oh, she is.
Like,
but I was just like,
he loves to hear her talk, which is kind of cute. But like, yeah,
I was
for sure.
a little over it at that point. I was like, no, wrapping this up.
That ending though, like he really was like, fuck your feelings. He is the king of fuck your feelings. Like it is the end on the beach, especially with Rahul Kohli's character and his son.
Yeah, that one hit me. You know, it's
life. I hate my life. After a while, I was like, I have to go. Like this is too much for my heart.
It's weird though because I wasn't as emotionally invested in this one as I have been his other two series. So I didn't really
interesting.
I didn't cry in this one. I didn't really get choked up. Like
really?
I know people that like my brother included who surprised me just got like he's like the ending really choked me up and I was prepared for it and I was like
choked me up. I was like heaving.
That was me watching Bly Manor. I don't know. There's just something about this that like it kept me at arm's length, and I don't know if it was the religious aspect, and it just it's kept me. I don't know, but it just didn't. I was prepared to be bawling, and I was like, oh, that's sad. That was my reaction. Listener, she is dying. She just isn't vocalizing it.
It's like when a baby cries and they're crying so hard they don't cry. I'm the opposite. I'm laughing so hard. Interesting, but yeah, I the ending hit me, and I think I just really felt. I don't know why I felt so connected. The mom, especially, like the parents, for some reason, I was very the mom too. I love the mom. I don't know why, but I just loved her.
This is really bad, but I think part of me was like, yep, that's what you get. This is all that you get. I think that was literally like, and I think that's probably why I was really sad about Rahul and his son. That hit me. But other than that, I was like, yeah, y'all got this. Like, this is what happens.
When Bev starts digging in the sand.
Oh, that part made me laugh. What a great villain. What a great villain.
Oh, God. Incredible villain. And like everyone and their mother has compared her to the woman from The Mist. But like.
Giving me that Mist.
She was on par with that. But like worse because you saw her in such a wider context.
Well, absolutely. And I think.
Like her evil was just like so much more apparent.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think she gave into camp. And I really think that performance in The Mist, the movie, verged onto camp.
Oh,
and this was so constrained that it felt more malicious than that over the top performance, which I loved. I loved that over the top performance, but this was very much a grounded.
But like when they were when the sheriff and her are talking in the closet and like all the rat poison is around her.
Chekhov's rat poison.
I was like, she is going to kill everybody, and she does.
And she does.
And she does. So, got it. Clocked it. Fucking religious psychopaths. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah. I am too.
Testament to Mike Flanagan can make someone who doesn't like religious horror like his religious horror.
Yeah. Well, and I started thinking, I was like, it's more, I guess, like, I don't know, this is a conversation for another time, I think, because this will go on for a while. But I do think that it's more like this sort of, like, gung-ho yay religion of like The Exorcist.
Yeah, that's fair.
Vice, this, which is like kind of the antithesis of that in a way.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, it's not even, and the thing is like, it's not outright critiquing faith.
No.
It's critiquing like the institution,
institutions.
Which I think is so interesting. I feel like it's usually so black and white, like fuck religion or like love religion. And it doesn't look into the nuance of like, everyone has a different relationship with belief. And I love how this does that. Like, while I don't really have like a religious like belief.
No, I don't.
I love that he was like, this is what faith can look like for different people, and I think that's important because I lose sight of that all the time. Like, I don't think about that as much as I should. So I think there was a cool nuance there, especially with like Erin Green's character and her relationship to religion, and then obviously Riley's relationship, and everyone else is kind of like weird in betweens, extremes. Individual kind of interpretations of what it means to believe in some kind of higher power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Midnight Mass.
So to end our discussion, let's double down on the sadness and talk about Bong Joon Ho's The Host, which I always remember as being a funny movie. And then you watch it and you realize how tragic and upsetting and depressing it actually is.
It's funny for like the first part where it's like Sang Kang Ho's character is like kind of an idiot and you're like, haha, slapstick. And then the monster shows up and you're like, psych.
Well, he does.
Please say psych.
He does that. Bong Joon Ho does that so well in his movies. Well, I do also think that Korean genre pictures do that so well, where they can balance different tones, different genres, sometimes in a scene, and it can just flip on a dime. And I remember watching Parasite and enjoying it, and then there's a moment and everything just sort of changes. And that's the way this movie does, but it happens more than once because it goes from this sort of slapstick funny comedy about this sort of, family that is sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of the misfits. They're kind of, silly. And then it changes on the dime, and then it changes a couple times throughout, and it's so fascinating the way he can do that.
He's really, really good at writing family dynamics. Wait, did we tell everyone what this movie is about?
We did not.
Okay. We should probably do that. But so The Host is the 2000s. It's not Rob Savage's Host. It is The Host.
Nor is it Stephanie Meyer's The Host.
Yeah. So this is just from IMDb. Careless American military personnel dump chemicals into South Korea's Han River. Several years later, a creature emerges from the tainted waters and sinks its ravenous jaws into local residents. When the creature abducts their daughter, a vendor, played by Song Kun Ho, and his family decide that they are the only ones who can save her.
I just want to say, which BT Dubs is based on a true event?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is quintessential environmental horror.
Yeah, in 2000, a Korean mortician working for the U.S. military did report that he was ordered to dump a large amount of formaldehyde down the drain into the Han River, which supplies South Korea with its water and a lot of its agricultural, entertainment, and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I didn't realize that was a real event until I started digging into it with this watch.
And this movie is also pretty anti-American. It's an American guy. The guy who gives the order is, he's in The Walking Dead, or was in The Walking Dead. But he's an American guy, gives the order. And then they also talk about Americans coming in using Agent Yellow at the end of the film, which is a reference to Agent Orange, which we used in the Vietnam War. So there's a lot of anti-American sentiment in this movie, which is valid.
I didn't really necessarily see it as anti-American, but I did see it as anti kind of government / military presence in South Korea.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, that's fair. I guess yeah.
Just because all we really see are these sort of government operatives in South Korea, and so it's not. I don't think necessarily, for me at least, it wasn't saying anything necessarily about America itself. Just more about the military presence, the sort of military ineptitude of the United States military in occupying parts of South Korea.
Yeah, and apparently North Korean authorities lauded this movie because of that anti-American sentiment. Apparently people in North Korea love that movie. That's weird, but wow. But it is very much an environmental horror movie because this creature is the product of pollution. And the monster is so gross looking. It's very odd. It's very 2006, I will say. The effects are very 2006.
Yeah, the CG doesn't, I don't think, hold up incredibly well. Although, I mean, I've seen worse today. I think that...
Yeah, that's true.
What I think saves it, though, is that this monster has character.
Yes.
I love that it's able to flip about with ease like an acrobat and swim like a dolphin, but then when it lands, it slides, it trips. It's kind of a big loaf, it's this kind of oafish behavior that it gives it this kind of more realistic character than this sort of omnipresent monster that's sort of lurking in the shadows and jumping out and biting something. No, this thing is not elegant at all on its feet, and I love that. Well,
and I love it too because it's not a kaiju. It's a big monster, but it's a little bit more manageable, if that makes sense. It can hide easier. and it's incredible how much it can destroy, but it can be a little bit more mobile and it's harder to find. And so I kind of like this like in between of like a smaller human-sized monster or like a giant Godzilla. I like this kind of in between monster that's destroying a city. It just like feels a little, again, not realistic feels wrong, but it feels a little bit more like imaginable in my head, I guess, that like something could potentially be that size, like because a Godzilla size is like that's incredibly like outlandish,
right.
Duh. But this maybe this could definitely happen.
It's large enough that it's believable that it could be living in that river.
Exactly. Because there's some weird crazy shit living in the waters. Like we've always talked about this with aquatic horror, but like we don't know the size of things that could, like crocodiles keep growing until they die.
Yeah. Spoiler moment. I'm always surprised. I've seen this movie like 4 or 5 times, and I'm always surprised every single time that the daughter dies.
I know.
I was like,
what the every time I'm like, oh yay, happy ending. Like they went through all these trials and tribulations.
The amount of trauma that he goes through to save his daughter.
This guy goes from like a kind of an idiot who runs a snack stand on the waterfront on the Han River and kind of like bumbles his way through things and like is a dad but kind of just seems like a little brother to her a lot of the time. Grows up. It's like coming of age is not the right way to put it, but like you see this father like really mature and grow up throughout the course of this movie for what they have to go through. And because he also like so he's with his father and then his 2 siblings. And so they're together and they come together in a shelter because there's like the monster attacks. He like destroys everything. It destroys all their homes. And so they, congregate at the shelter, and which in and of itself is a commentary on South Korean like government and ability for emergency preparedness.
Ineptitude.
Obviously, ineptitude, which is like a theme in most Korean horror movies, I feel like. But yeah, like they go through stuff with the monster. They go through a lot of like stuff with government officials. It's just a lot of growing up that this guy does. And I love watching a movie where a grown-up has to grow up. And this, of course, is done amazingly here because it's Bong Joon Ho and Sang Kang-ho together. And if you don't remember, guys, Sang Kang-ho plays the father in Parasite of the family who is not ass wealthy.
And it's also reminded me a bit of Parasite in terms of the way it ends and that sort of kind of full circle moment where it's ending where, he has changed his hair color, he has approached adult life, but it's not everything it's cracked up to be either, because now he's just continuing the journey that his father did, but he's in a little hut sullen squid on the side of a frozen lake with his now adopted son. And it's like it adds this air of complete tragedy to the sort of it's like a stinger of an ending for me, and it reminded me of kind of the way that Parasite ended. I think that there's some of the themes that Bong Joon Ho would grow on to explore in Parasite, I think kind of started here, incubated here.
Yes. Wow. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but
yeah, I don't know. It just like popped out at me as I was watching this. Like, ooh, this is like Parasite.
It's like you survived this, but like it's like that you survived this trauma. Keep living your life. You know what I mean?
Nothing is improved.
It's got that vibe of like, yeah, like nothing's really changed. Like you went through all of that shit, and like you're maybe a little different, but it's not really that different.
And in fact, you're less than because you've lost your father and you've lost your daughter. It's like bleak.
It is so bleak. Bong Joon Ho said, "Life is terrible."
Bong Joon Ho said, "Fuck your feelings."
But yeah, Bong Joon Ho definitely said, "Fuck your feelings." But that's okay. He can say that. He's very good at making me sad.
He's a very talented director. I love him.
He is. He's very talented.
Next little cuts. What are we going to talk about on our aquatic horror journey, Mary Beth?
We are going to talk about Beneath, the aquatic horror movie directed by the one and only Larry Fessenden, which I've never seen before, and I'm very excited.
I'm so excited to watch this one.
Yeah, I've seen some incredible videos of a giant fish-like creature. So, and I love Larry Fessenden. I'm excited to see him take on aquatic horror creature feature on like a tiny budget.
Me too.
But Terry, who are we talking to on Monday?
So we are going to talk with Rob Jabaz. He is the writer/director of The Sadness, which is hitting festivals, doing a lot of good stuff, being very divisive, being very horrifying and disturbing and fucked up. And it's a wild movie. And we're going to talk about why The Fly terrified him growing up. The Jeff Goldblum remake of The Fly. And I really enjoyed this conversation. It was kind of a wild conversation in spots.
It's very weird, but it's very good. I've never seen The Fly, and now I can't stop thinking about The Fly. So here we are. But listeners, you've heard from us, but we want to hear from you. Did you watch a film that we watched this week and have thoughts? Do you have suggestions for our next aquatic horror movie? Send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us directly on Twitter. I'm at MB McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast.
And please, if you can, send us a review, a rating, and subscribe on iTunes. It helps us out a lot.
Please and thank you. Thank you, Eric Parr, for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Please stay safe out there, but most importantly, stay creepy.
And until next time.
Won't somebody please think of the children? Won't somebody please think of the children? Somebody please think of the children!
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room?
It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.